Hey guys, it's Adam with Action Esports, and today I'm speaking with Houston Outlaws' newest addition, Kai Kai. Kai Kai, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So Houston has a perfect record so far for the stage. It's got to feel pretty good starting your time with the Outlaws on such a severe high note.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Being with back with Team USA people, I feel like I came in, I instantly had like a ton of respect, so I was able to get right to work, and it's paying off. What
was it like starting your time with the team by preparing for a new meta with limited information about the patch? Pretty nerve-wracking, I assume.
Because I was a former player, I think it actually like kind of gives me an edge here compared to a lot of coaches, where I feel like I have an idea of like how I would play against it or play with it. So I feel like it really just like helped me kind of zone in, and then when we started practice, we just took the first day to kind of just like test the limits of where everything was at, and it helped us like kind of like scope out the week, and it worked, I guess, but we'll see next week.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about your transition from Dallas to Houston. Immediately after leaving Dallas, you seem to be very amicable on social media. Can you give me a little bit of background on that and what was going on at the time?
Well, I think just like me leaving Dallas was kind of like it was a hard time for everyone. I think like staff, management, players, it was all like a hard time, and I think the team needed to change, and they saw me as the change the team needed. I mean, there's no real hard feelings. I get along with all the people from Dallas still. I mean, it is what it is. Like something had to change, and they chose me. That's all there is to it.
Prior to the official announcement, it seemed pretty clear that there was some kind of relationship with you in Houston already. Why was there such a delay in the official announcement?
I mean, it was the same stuff with every contract, right? Like you have to make a contract, negotiate the contract. That's really all it was. Like I started working with them pretty much the day after I departed from Dallas, so it was kind of like always a thing, and it was like kind of a running joke because everyone knew I was with Houston, and like we weren't really trying to like cover it up, but it wasn't official until it was official. Basically, it was like announced like the day after it was official. So
was transferring to the rival team of Dallas by design, or was it just a product of clicking really well with the org and the people there?
It's kind of an interesting thing. Like before Overwatch League Season 1, I know there was a lot of teams that were interested in me because of like Team USA and Envy, but it seemed like after Dallas there was less interest than before, but there was still like a few teams. But it seemed like the only team that actually like truly believed in me and like what I could bring and like my knowledge and like just like all the stuff that I can bring to the table was Houston. So that was like, it was like an easy choice for me. And then also just like, because I basically have one stage with a team, and I wanted to go to a team where I wouldn't have to like spend the whole stage gaining respect. I would just go in and instantly be able to start working and like make a difference, because it's already the end of the season, and I didn't want to waste any time, basically.
So a lot of people are really excited to see you reunited with your World Cup guys. And you mentioned earlier that familiarity and respect was already present. What was that transition like, and how much adjustment was there for you adjusting to coaching these guys who have been trained by Tyrong and them for 3 stages now?
Well, it's important to note that like Tyrong does a great job, but it's important to note that Houston was like also understaffed, similar to Dallas. So coming from an understaffed team myself, I kind of knew that like Tyrong wouldn't want me to come in there and be like, okay, Tyrong, what do you want me to do? Okay, I'm gonna do this one thing. Like, I needed to go in there. I needed to just like look at where the holes were and just start filling them, and just kind of like relieve Tyrong of like a bunch of the stress he was having. And I think I did a pretty good job of that. I know Tyrong got like good rest during the between stages, and I don't know. I mean, everything just seems to be flowing so well. Like the team just really seems to really want to win, and they're really putting like everything they have into the stage. And I don't know. I love this team so far.
Can you tell me a little bit about those first days with Houston and what the transition overall was like for you, especially with the unfamiliar players?
I guess like the biggest transition for me personally was like I feel like I lost a lot of my own confidence while I was in Dallas. Like I never really could figure out whether it was just like me making the wrong decisions or if it was like what it was. Like it's easy to like say, oh, it's probably this, but we never like you never know. And I think like even though Dallas did so bad, it's like even the players that I wasn't familiar with on Houston, they just like all like they looked up to me, and it like kind of just like gave me that confidence back, and it like made me want to take more risks with like crazy crazy strategies, crazy comps, and just like basically just like tell them what to do, and it just made me like feel so sure of myself, and I haven't felt that way in such a long time. So it was kind of just like a really like refreshing transition, to be honest.
To expand on that a little bit, can you tell me how the team dynamic on Houston compares to that of Dallas?
It's a tricky question. I mean, like, the team dynamic of Envy/Dallas has shifted like so much like over the course of time that I was there. Like at first it was like a lot of like just like always going out. Like we really prided ourselves on like the whole family feel, like going out to eat. And I think like as we moved into Overwatch League, it became a lot more like business centric, and like everyone kind of wanted their own space, their free time, and like when we weren't at work. And I think that's fine, but it just like wasn't something that everyone was used to. And then in Houston, it's kind of like whenever we're home, like we could just like randomly be like, okay, we have a meeting at Tyrong's, let's go do some review. And it's just it's kind of just it's different. I don't really know how to describe it other than that, because Envy's gone through so many different phases that it's hard to like just say it's black and white.
Just to expand on that a little bit, can you talk to me about the transition from Envy to Dallas? I mean, all the same pieces were there, but there seemed to be a shift maybe in the background that you know the public didn't really see. Is there anything on that you can speak to as far as like if there was a shift in the dynamics at all behind the scenes?
I wouldn't really say that there was a shift going from Envy to Dallas. I would say it was more like it felt like there was kind of like we didn't shift ourselves enough to Overwatch League, and like the differences of what a team of 6 players and a coach and a manager was. Like we didn't shift ourselves well enough into like, okay, we need a full staff, we have a team, we have subs, and we just really didn't do it fast enough, and that's it.
I mean, you don't seem to be alone in that. It seems that a lot of the Contenders teams outside of the Korean rosters that were successful during Contenders had some struggles at the beginning of Overwatch League. Is there something about the regional Contender setup that kind of made you feel unprepared going into Overwatch League?
The biggest difference is going from the 6 players to the set, like even just having 7 players. Like when you have any kind of subs, I think that's like the biggest challenge, because it feels like for every player you add, you need like exponentially like more staff. And like I don't think many teams understood how much like a full support staff would be like necessary to keep a 6-month league going, and like the team healthy, happy, like make sure that the staff weren't overworking, and make sure that like everything could keep up. Like 2 games a week is a lot, but then like doing it for 6 months straight, it's pretty crazy.
When we've spoken previously to Houston players, they've emphasized that their strategy focused on player choice and feeling out what was right in the moment. What are your goals going forward with the team, and are you looking to add a little bit more structure to that strategy?
It's funny actually, because like when I first came to the team, that's what they told me, and we talked about that, and I think that's like something that we instantly changed. Like I like the fact that they like being able to adapt is important and it's good, but like we needed to have some kind of like structure of like what everyone was going to do as a baseline, and then an alternate, and then like any like crazy strats. We needed to just make sure that we were like, we knew the counters, we understand the meta, and like we know what we can do to combat it. And so yeah, I would say the structure is pretty much already there. It didn't really take any time to do that. Like everyone understands well enough that like it's important, and like we all know what to do. So it took like a couple weeks of that.
Did the jumping into a new meta that everybody was trying to figure out, was that helpful as kind of a restart button to change the gears on your strategy going forward? Break some of the old habits that had been set from stage 2 and 3?
Yeah, I mean, even if it was the same meta, I think just having the break, it needed to like reset, like, okay, we have a new structure here, we have additional staff here, let's just like, we can do this now, and like it just kind of feels like a fresh start, and that's really all we needed. I think that was like very like key to where we're headed now. In terms of like the meta though, I mean, it fits us perfectly, so that helps. So
it's nice to see Junkrat back in power. I'd also like to talk for a moment about World Cup. You are now playing with a lot of the Team USA players from last year. If you end up coaching again this year, what will you take from your experience with Houston, and how will you expand on it going forward into World Cup?
My knowledge of not only just the game, but coaching in general, and like how to be successful in a coach, has like probably increased 20 times what it was last year for last World Cup. So I mean, I really hope that I get picked. So I think that I'm pretty confident we can win this year. In terms of picking a roster, I had to do it last year while I was in Korea, so it was very hard to like run tryouts. I'd have to wake up early before like, Envy's practice and do the tryouts. And I feel like this year it's gonna be like in a kind of an off-season period, I believe, and I feel like it'll be much more efficient to like get an actual team going and like make sure we have like a set like actual team structure inside of the World Cup team, which is something that we kind of lacked last year. It was kind of like, it kind of felt like a group of friends in a way, and that's how, I mean, that's just how it turned out. But that was also kind of like what I was looking for, because I wanted the team that could go to LAN and like hype each other up, build each other up, stuck together. They didn't like go off on their own and like get separated. So it worked last year, but I think this year it's gonna be pretty competitive.
Shameless plug time. What would you say you bring to a prospective World Cup coaching position that other coaches wouldn't?
I mean, I think that especially compared to like American coaches, I think my experience is vastly outweighs other coaches. I've now seen what it feels like to be at the top and at the bottom, so I know the full spectrum, which I think is actually pretty important. Like, you never want someone that's just at the top. Like, I feel like in the downfall of Dallas, I feel like I've actually learned probably more than I ever have just in the past couple months. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows if I'm the best, if someone's the best, but I do think that from what I've seen, I think there's a lot of great coaches out there, but I think that in terms of putting a roster together and making sure that the roster functions while also providing stuff like one-on-one feedback and strategy, I feel like I'm unparalleled in that regard.
So in closing, you have a lot of fans that have been with you from Apex to Contenders, World Cup, Dallas, and now Houston, and potentially World Cup again. Going into this new chapter, what would you like to say to all the people that have followed you the entirety of this journey?
I feel like fans that still follow me are crazy, because I feel like I've been like at least like the spotlight of like what all has gone wrong with Dallas and like whatnot. I mean, I don't know what everyone thinks, but man, like it's like whenever I get like the messages that are just like, I read like every single message that's nice, and like some of them just are like really are just like, man, some of these people are just such good people, and like I feel like the fans that have stuck with me are like truly some of the best people, because I feel like it takes a lot to stick with me and everything I've been through. I'm not even a player, and people stick with me as a fan. So I don't know. I love all the fans that I have personally. Kakai,
thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on 2 incredible wins this week, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share, as it really helps out the channel quite a lot. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with all of our content, and hit that bell to stay notified.